Hello and welcome back to the LFC Transfer Room for this week's edition of the Transfer Central stream. Today, joined by Matty, Tino, and Jay. Matty, I'll start with you. Recent new owner of a Champions League final ticket, heading off to Paris tomorrow. Excited?
Yeah, I'm excited. Just while we're on the stream where people watch that global ticket's a fucking rats, by the way. But yeah, I'm going to the final now. All sorted. There's some heroes out there, so can't wait. Proper can't wait.
Yeah, I mean, Tino, it's we are on Transfer Central, so we'll talk about transfers, and I should probably change the overlay. But the final is on everyone's mind, isn't it? Even though there's been a lot of news today.
It certainly is. It's the only thing anybody can talk about, and rightfully so. You look at even all the Madrid players coming out, Benzema recently coming out and saying, "Well, in our minds, we've already run it." It just gives us that extra bit of confidence just to hopefully do one over on them. But yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah, and Jay, it's a good day to be a Liverpool fan, isn't it? We're 2 days away from the Champions League. We're linked with a lot of players. Some we might not want, but how are you feeling today?
Good, mate. The main thing for me was that Fabinho was in training, and it's been positive that it looks like Thiago will be in training as well. So I'm not even asked about transfers right now, mate. It's just about having our best 11 for the final for me.
Well, we are going to talk about transfers, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Oh, we're going to start. I like to leave you all waiting, guys. It's the best subjects have to come at the end. So, again, guys, if you are new, please make sure you leave a like on the video. It helps the channel out massively. Also, to subscribe. Welcome to everybody who's coming in. Obviously, the regulars, Jen. Also got Danny. Kite in here. So, but Binny, everyone who's joining, thank you very much. First little news is coming from the Daily Mail or Mail Sport. They have confirmed today, Matty, that Liverpool are looking to add an extra goalkeeper to the squad for next season to add some further competition for the first teamers of Alisson Becker and Kaheem Kelleher. This sort of confirms that Adrian is going to be on the way out. I think I remember hearing a few things a while ago that he's probably going to be returning to Real Betis. One of the team, I think it's Betis, who we come from, a Spanish side, who we come from. There's also been a lot of talks about Kelleher potentially going on loan to get some more game time. I think he's 23. I'm sure he's happy playing backup. He gets his fair amount of games with Alisson picking up the odd knock. But it's this new keeper. If we do get one, he's not going to be playing at all, is he? Maybe he might pick up a few games in friendlies, but that's about it, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm made up to see the back of Adrian, to be honest with you. But I suppose his experience that's good in the dressing room, so it's the keeper we're going to bring in is going to be someone who's been around the game for a long time. I just hope it's not Ben Foster, I just really hope it's not him. It'll be someone bad. It'll be someone who'll never play, like when we brought Andy Lonergan in. So and Ben Foster's on a free, so I just hope it's not him. But he'll never play. But someone with experience, you want someone who's won something really. Who can then the kids coming through like Peter Luger and stuff. They're looking up to keepers who are proven winners, not just Alisson and Cleve. There's a third one there then who's a proven winner, which Adrian he is ultimately because he won us the Super Cup. He has won us things, and that's what you want people looking up to. So hopefully whoever comes in, someone who's won a bit, but just don't let it be Ben Foster.
Yeah, would you know? I mean, Tino, I quite like Ben Foster. I watch his videos. I think it's a really interesting insight into, top level football. Yes, it can be a bit cringeworthy, but we know that Liverpool multiple times have denied access to the training grounds from the likes of Amazon Prime, Netflix. I think if Ben Foster was to join, you probably wouldn't get the luxury of walking around.
That's my only issue. I don't want us to have all that on the internet.
Yeah, well, would you not like to know who likes pineapple and ham on the pizzas? That's a question.
Like that, you just don't want to have a club seeing it, do you? Like he films like the goalkeeper training and stuff like that. You don't want to have a club seeing that.
I think he just trains the warm up. from what I've seen, which is not new. Like all goalkeepers have the same warm up. I'm sure Watford have not allowed him to film most parts. You know, we have training videos pretty much every week anyway. So it's, you know, I think as soon as I heard this news, I thought Ben Foster. You know, Tottenham were looking at him, but they're now signing Fraser Forster.
Yeah.
So, you know, I mean, Tino, would it be the end of the world if we got Foster? He's an experienced goalkeeper. He is not bad either. He's on his day, he's a very good keeper. You know, I can't really remember too many out and out mistakes he's made. But you know, what are your thoughts on Ben Foster? I might well discuss him.
I love Ben Foster. I think as a character, I think he's great. As we've already mentioned, they're not going to play someone who's experienced. The United link kind of puts me off quite a lot. Having played for United earlier on in his career, that's the one thing that puts me off. But as a fan, having someone like that go into the club and potentially giving me more content that I can sort of absorb as a fan, I'd love to see that. As a thinking with my head rather than my heart, I'm thinking if I'm seeing all this content as we've already mentioned, other clubs could see this content, and I don't really want them to get any ideas. But I'd love him. I think as a character, he'd be great for the squad. I think he reminds me a lot of Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain in his mannerisms and how he acts. He's a very larger than life character. I think he'd add a lot to the dressing room. On the pitch, he ain't going to add anything, but I don't know. I'm kind of 50-50 if I'm being honest. The United link does put me off a lot.
I mean, Jay, he's better than Adrian, isn't he? It's hard not to be better than Adrian at the end of the day. But you know, I'm thinking of this more from a publicity thing for the club. Do we need Ben Foster being publicity for Liverpool? No, but you know, he has a big YouTube channel. He's an okay goalkeeper. You know, he offers more than just being a fair choice. I think his personality would be great in YouTube videos. We've got the biggest YouTube channel out of any club in the world. So, you know, that's a big asset to have him as well. And the fact that he's a Premier League proven goalkeeper is also a bit of a bonus. But if not Ben Foster, who else would you have?
Maybe sign him to do the YouTube to make it better. No, to be fair to Ben Foster, mate, he doesn't have to pull off some worldies. It's not like a world-class goalkeeper or nothing, but every season I've seen him make some ridiculous saves. He has again this season. I'm not really asked about the Man United link because he didn't really play for them. He was on the books, but he didn't really play for United, so I don't think there's that hate for him from my side. In terms of who else, mate, I'll be honest, I don't know who's on the market, who's similar, you know, Premier League experience and is a decent keeper. Fraser Forster's obviously. Who, lad?
Pepe Reina.
Oh, yeah, I'd love Pepe back, lad, yeah, that'd be a shout. He suits our style of play.
You've got to think as well, though, who's going to come in and say fair choice, guaranteed 0 games a season?
Pepe Reina, end of his career.
I mean,
yeah, if Reina was happy too, lad, that's an absolute shout.
But is he at the end of his season? His career, when he been playing for Napoli recently, or whoever he joined, when he was at AC Milan, when he was at Napoli, he was their starting keeper pretty much the whole time.
He's at Lazio now, isn't he?
Yeah, I don't think he starts anymore. Because they've lost Spina, haven't they?
I swear he went over. He overtook him as well. You know, I'm having a look now.
But that just shows how good he is. And I think if someone like Pepe Reina comes back, then he's seen his career. He's not going to play. He's back around the club. He's a massive personality as well. He's an absolute
yeah. So he's a huge one, isn't he?
I'd rather him than Ben Foster, to be honest with you. Pepe Reina's won stuff.
So it'd be good for Peter Luger as well, wouldn't it? To have Reina and him, been round World Cup winner, Euro winner, should I say? Yeah, it would be boss that, lad. I'm all over that.
I've just had a look. He's played 17 games for Lazio this season. You know, he's definitely a backup, but 15 appearances in the Serie A. So, he's by no means done with his career. Yeah, he's 39 at the moment, so he's definitely coming to his end of it. But I wouldn't say no, but I just don't know if Reina will come in and do it. I think if you give Ben Foster the same as what he's on at Watford now, he'd come in and happily sit third choice.
But with Pepe Reina, do you not think he'd come in because he has played for Liverpool and for a number of years he could just come in at the end of his career and just potentially sweep up a Premier League winners' medal and a Champions League winners' medal in a few seasons here?
Maybe. I definitely wouldn't say no, to be fair. When does his contract run out? His contract expires at the end of next season, so we'd have to buy him if he was to come in. But
Be buttons though, wouldn't it?
I don't see Liverpool doing that though. I don't see us paying money for anybody who's going to sit third choice. Not a chance.
I think we just trust Pitalagua, however you say his name.
I'd rather us do that, to be honest. I don't want Kelleher to go out on loan, but I'd prefer it to promote him than get Ben Foster or anyone else, to be honest. I do like the idea of Reina if Kelleher went, because Pitalagua can learn from him, and Reina plays with it at his feet anyway. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So you don't lose that. But yeah, I'd rather keep Kelleher, mate. Alisson does pick up injuries for the keeper. I don't know many keepers who pick up the odd little knocks as much as he does, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely. But I think we're all in agreement. We don't really care who comes in.
Yeah, to be fair, yeah.
So on that note, that no one really cares. Before we get into that, if you are new, guys, make sure you leave a like on the video. Hello to everyone joining. Gary, great to see you. American Scouser TV, Nevin, Ash, DJ, everyone who's joined. Make sure you leave a like on the video. Also, if you are new to the channel, please subscribe with your notifications turned on. Okay, our next story, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. I think we're all under the impression that this is his last season at Liverpool. It's probably the Jurgen Klopp transfer that just hasn't worked out. There's been a report from John Cross of the Mirror, who's quite reliable. He's the chief football writer for the Mirror. He has claimed that Steven Gerrard has put Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain on red alert, with Liverpool ready to sell him this summer, and Gerrard is a long-term admirer. First of all, before we talk crap about Oxlade-Chamberlain and how rubbish he is, Matty, what do you think this is I think this is a good move for Oxlade-Chamberlain. I just don't think it would be a great move for Aston Villa, considering how many midfielders they've got at the moment. I know they're selling Douglas Luiz, but unless the likes of John McGinn leave, I just can't see this happening. Can you?
I can see it happening, to be honest with you, because the Ox grew up idolising Gerrard. So imagine in his twilight years just getting that knowledge off Gerrard if he was looking at going into coaching and stuff. I can see it happening, but yeah, they've just bought another midfielder as well, haven't they, from Marseille, Kamara or something like that?
Yeah. Old midfielder, yeah.
And he
good signing, that,
He looks all right. So, and then they've already had a decent midfield, to be fair. Aston Villa, they need to make a few tweaks here and there. I think it was more defence, to be honest with you, that they needed to focus on. And I think it'd be a mad move for Villa's perspective. I think that just means that they're probably having a massive overhaul of the midfield if he's bringing in several midfielders. But it's what Stevie knows best. If he brings it in, the Ox would improve Villa's midfield because he's coming in with the winning mentality. He's a player who has been around the side that's won absolutely everything. It's the perfect player to bring in. And I think he'd be decent to have Villa, to be fair. I think he'd play well with Coutinho and he'd get minutes there. And I've said all season, no hard feelings to the Ox, to be fair. If he goes, he goes. And I do think he will go, and fair play to him.
Yeah, I mean, Tino, he's got 1 year left on his contract. He's in the same boat as a lot of Liverpool players, Naby Keita, Firmino, Salah, Mane. He's just, James Milner starting over him at this point. I think he's probably the last midfielder we would play, and it's just time for him to move on, isn't it?
It certainly is. It's been a really unfortunate Liverpool career as a whole. It started off quite well, and then just injuries have just really cut him down, and he's really struggled to get game time. it is a shame because I think he seems like a nice guy and he's certainly a talented player. Someone like Villa kind of, I don't think makes sense from the player's perspective. As you've already touched on, I don't know how much game time he's going to get there. Maybe someone like West Ham, I think, may be interested. I could imagine him going to West Ham, but again, I would like him to stay from my heart because I think he's a very good player. But when you're not starting and you've got a 38-year-old James Milner, or however the hell old he is, playing in front of you, and you've got Curtis Jones and Harvey Elliott playing in front of you when you're meant to be that explosive, that attacking player who's really gonna give us something different in terms of goals from the midfield, you really do have to leave. He's not getting any younger at 28 years old. He's meant to be in the peak of his career right now, and I just don't see it happening. He needs consistent game time. He's not going to get that at Liverpool, and it makes total sense for him to leave at this stage.
Yeah, I mean, Jay, there's been a few rumours about him potentially being part of a Jarrod Bowen swap. Doesn't make any sense to me. I think that probably only takes off about 10 million, if we're lucky, of the Jarrod Bowen deal. But, you know, I don't think Aston Villa is the right club for him, but I think someone like Newcastle or West Ham who need, you know, someone who can just pick the ball up, and because at the end, when Oxlade-Chamberlain is good, he's very good. Before he got injured with Roma, against Roma, he was a very vital part of the team. But he's just not Liverpool quality anymore, is he? Unfortunately.
No, he's not, mate. You hit the nail on the head. Before the Roma injury, he was playing really well. Carried the ball great for us. His games against City always stands out for me. Thought he was brilliant in them games, but since then, mate, it reminds me a bit of Robbie Kane when, you know, a player tries too hard that they just mess everything up. They don't play the natural game, and I get why he does that because he doesn't get chances, and when he does, I think he tries too hard. But I think his day's welcome at Liverpool, mate. Every time he's on the pitch, I just scream, to be honest, at him because he's doing stupid things. I'll be honest as well, I don't think West Ham and Newcastle will be looking at someone like him. I think they'll be looking for someone better, in truth. Newcastle have got crazy money now. Guimaraes has had a boss impact there, been really good. So I imagine they're going to want to sign players of a similar ilk. And to be fair to West Ham, they've just reached the Europa League semis. They've got Souček, Lanzini, Rice. I know Rice is probably going to get off, but I think even they can attract a better player than Ox. I'd argue the form Lingard was in for West Ham on that loan, out of the two, if you were picking, you'd probably rather have Lingard than Ox, which might be controversial to some of them being a mank, but, you know, his performances at West Ham don't lie. He was brilliant that second half of the season. He was there.
Yeah, the one thing, I don't think he gets a move to a top 10 Premier League club where he starts, but I do think he gets a move as like the first rotational midfielder, which is...
I think Southampton would be a good move for him. Yeah, it's where he started.
Yeah, but even if he is like the first option off the bench, it's better than what he's getting now. And another thing is, though, he's not going to get the money that he's getting at Liverpool, so he's going to have to take a pay cut if he wants to. And if he stays here for another year, then we know he just wants the money. But if we were to sell him this year, I'll just put this open-ended question out for anyone to answer. How much do you think we could get for him? We signed him for 40 million, so keep that in mind. But I'll put that out for anyone.
15, I'd take it.
10, 15.
Yeah, I'd take 15.
Yeah.
I'd be happy with 15.
So for the Ox, Newcastle wouldn't be a bad shout because if they come in for him, I reckon they'd have a good impact on him in a sense of that's where Perry's from, innit?
She's from South Shields, which is
you've just done that. So stuff like that comes, like people don't think about it, but stuff like that comes into play for football, moving clubs. So, or maybe they go down to London where he's from. Is he's from London?
Yeah,
no, I think. I don't think he is. You know,
Newcastle could pay his wages as well, Matty.
Yeah. And it's a good option for Newcastle as well. He's certainly better, I think, on his day than some of their midfield options. He's probably the next step for Newcastle.
He's from Portsmouth, so yeah.
Actually,
So
they can afford him.
does anybody see him moving out of the Premier League to a different league?
No, and I'll tell you why. I think Newcastle's a great shout because of Perry. They've just had a kid. You know, if they move up, then and people are going to be like, "Oh, this doesn't play a part." I think it generally does. You know, if he moves to Newcastle, they're going to be closer to her family. And, you know, even if he's not close to his family, it's not that far difference, like an extra hour or two. So, you know, I think Newcastle will be a great move. I think they could pay his wages. They'd be able to sign him for 10, 15 million. Yes, he might be a rotational player, but it's a good sign for him. And, you know, I think we'd be able to probably get them up to the 15 million, maybe.
Could probably get them 20, 25 with any hours in charge. You paid 29 million for Kane, so.
Yeah, so I think that would be a good move from out of that. But again, guys, if you are new to the stream, please do leave a like on the video. Also, if you're new to the channel, make sure you are subscribed with the bell notification on. Okay, next story / not really story. Real Madrid are apparently interested in Mohamed Salah and Sadio Mane after they missed out on Kylian Mbappe. This has been reported by a fair few people, but, you know, it seems like the most obvious option, considering I don't think there's many top class wingers on the level of Mbappe who are in the final year of the contract or who are available to get. Matty, to me, this seems like it's mind games ahead of the Champions League final.
100% is. I'm 99% sure that it came out that Madrid were after Salah before the final in Kiev. I'm sure it was. So I think it's just paper talk to unsettle them. I think Sadio Mane is probably off to Bayern, to be honest with you. I think he is off, given the interview that was there after the media day and the AXA. It was sort of indicated as though he's not speaking to after the final. And usually when players say that, it's a bit of a going sort of thing. So it's an interesting one with Salah, though. I feel like everyone's made up that he said he's going to be here next season. But I think that Salah saying to the club, like, give me a contract or you lose me for nothing.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Tino, there's been multiple reports that Liverpool are going to sell one of the front three, the original front three, after this summer. We've had multiple discussions on this, and we've got, you know, for every single one, there's reasons for them to be sold and reasons for them to stay. The only person who knows what's going to happen is Jurgen Klopp, but, you know, we're going to get the most money for either Sadio Mane or Mohamed Salah. But it's, you know, who would you sell and what reason for
that? Oh, that's tough. That is a really tough question. I'm leaning towards Sadio Mane just because he seems like he's already on his way out the door, and more with all of his cryptic talk and his agent talk. I'm positive. I have faith that he's going to sign a new deal. If we're gonna sell, like you say, it has to be this summer. But the club, Jurgen Klopp in the past, Liverpool as well, haven't shied away from allowing a player's contract to end if their value to the team and to the squad outweighs the money that we're going to get for them. If you're selling Sadio Mane for 50 million this summer, which is a fee I've seen sort of quoted, I wouldn't sell him. I'd keep him, if I'm being perfectly honest. He's the type of guy that if he does want to go and doesn't get his move, he's not gonna stop not train. He's not gonna have a paddy and a tantrum and throw his toys out the pram. He's still gonna knuckle down and work hard. But yeah, for me, I don't think we can sell Salah. If we sell Salah this summer, we're going to have real problems replacing him, because I don't see anybody in world football who's able to produce the amount of numbers that he produces every single year.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to go on to Sadio Mane's, conversation that he had with the media about leaving and the rumours surrounding him, Jay. But, you know, at the moment, both teams, Liverpool and Real Madrid, in the Champions League final, two of the top teams in the world, probably top three teams in the world with Manchester City. If we were to lose them to anyone, it'd probably be them, wouldn't it?
Yeah, the financial situation Barca are in, I don't think they're in a position to be signing someone like Mane or Salah. If not, obviously PSG are obvious ones, aren't they? They can buy who they want when they want, and all the talk at the minute they want to get rid of Neymar. So he's obviously got to be replaced, and I think Icardi is going to leave as well. So that's potentially two strikers that they need. But in honesty, I'd just put it to Salah now. You've got 2 weeks after the final. Are you signing or not? If he doesn't, let him go. Just sell him. Because what worries me is I think FSG might look at it like they looked at Wijnaldum a bit. It's slightly different, obviously, because the valuation of Wijnaldum and Salah are completely different. But FSG could look at this like, we haven't lost 100 million. We signed him for 30. He scored 100 not goals for us. We've won the league, the Champions League twice potentially, and everything else. We can let him stay and run his contract on because technically we're losing 30 million. But I just think you're going to get 100 mil for him. If he's not going to sign in 2 weeks after the final, I'd just say, look, here's your last offer. If you're not signing it, we're selling you. I just, it's no good for anyone going into the season with him not signing and then thinking he might go on a free. So I'd rather just get it done and boxed off.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we'll go on to the Sadio Mane stuff now. Sadio Mane was asked leading up to the Champions League final if he'd join Real Madrid. He said, "Good question, but I want to say this right now. I'm fully focused on the Champions League final." Basically, he didn't say no. Is what the main reason of this for. There have been multiple rumours, Matty, and not just random rumours. These are confirmed by some of the biggest journalists in France and Germany. It is basically 100% confirmed that Sadio Mane is talking to Bayern Munich and PSG. It's more closer to Bayern Munich at the moment. He said he can see himself playing. Julian Nagelsmann has said that he wants him in his plans for next season. It has nothing to do with Lewandowski and Gnabry. It's just interest on its own. However, Bild have come out today or yesterday and said that Bayern Munich are ready to pay around 30 million, while Liverpool would be willing to negotiate an offer of around 50 million euros. So around like mid-40s, 43. Matty, that seems, even though he's in his last year of his contract, that seems cheap for an AFCON winner, someone who's still bagging goals. He can play multiple positions. He's 30. We know players can go to 35, 36. But, I think Mane's leaving. If I'm going to be deadly honest, I think he's the one out of the front three who seems like he's happy to say, I've had a great time at Liverpool, but I want to go somewhere else. Now, could you see this coming to fruition?
Yeah, especially Germany as well. He's been in England for a long time. He spent a few years at Southampton before us as well. And I think if we get 43 million for him, I'd be happy with that considering he's going to the last year of his contract. I think Bayern Munich's more believable than Real Madrid because why would Real Madrid buy Sadio Mane, a 30-year-old left winger, when they've got Vinny Jr., who's one of the most exciting talents in world football? And then even on the right wing, they've got. Now, I'm not saying Rodrigo is better than Salah, so the links to that, I'm not rubbishing them links, but in a sense of like he's a very exciting, again, a Brazilian kid coming through who's pretty much got them into a Champions League final as well. So I don't think Madrid will be looking at him, but I do think Bayern Munich will be looking at Mane. With them losing Gnabry, I think he definitely is going, and they know that. So he is a good replacement for them. And again, he's a winning mentality experience. And Mane's come from the Red Bull system, which Nagelsmann's used to. So he'll slot right in with them as well. And maybe that's what Nagelsmann wants to do. He wants to build a squad of people who's going to work the way he wants to work. And it looks like there's a big change going on at Bayern, to be fair, losing Gnabry and Lewandowski. And now looks like there's a big overhaul. But I think if we win the Champions League, because he's won the AFCON, we've won the FA Cup, League Cup. If we win the Champions League, he's probably in contention to win a Ballon d'Or. I think you could probably get 60, 70 million if you really wanted. If Liverpool want more money, I think Sadio Mane goes to PSG.
Yeah, I mean, Tino, Bayern Munich, yes, they spend money, but they are also happy to wait for free agents, and they stick to their price. They very rarely go over what they want to do. Could you? I mean, it's crazy to ask, but could you see Liverpool meeting in the middle and saying, 40 million, we could get a replacement with that potentially? It's Klopp has done it multiple times with Diogo Jota, Luis Diaz. He did it with Salah. He did it with Mane. He buys these 30 to 40 million players and builds them up. It's not out of the question that we do this. And Mane's given us 7 years of unbelievable service. He was the first player who really adopted that Jurgen Klopp heavy metal football system, and he's going to go down as a Liverpool legend. Do you think it's time to part ways with him and say thank you very much, Sadio, and appreciate you leaving and giving us a bit of money?
My heart says no, my head says maybe. Like I say, my worry is we won't replace him as well. I know Jurgen's done it multiple times. Sadio goes, we get someone like Jared Bowen, who's fair enough, done absolutely phenomenally this season, double figures for goals and assists for West Ham, and he did brilliant last season as well. But for me, it's a downgrade. You can't lose someone of Sadio Mane's quality and then bring in Jared Bowen. I don't see it. I don't see it happening. I really don't see it happening. I really, my heart says keep him till the end of his contract, and if he wants to leave on a free transfer, then fair enough. He can go to Bayern after that, or at least do something stupid, or try something stupid like a swap deal for Serge Gnabry. Like, there's no harm in asking if they really want the man.
Yeah, I mean, Jay, I was literally about to ask you about Serge Gnabry because we before this was even discussed, me and Matty and a couple of other people spoke about a potential swap deal with Gnabry and Mane. It was when Mane was going through his rough patch, and both weren't looking to sign a contract. That is not a bad deal for Liverpool. And we spoke to Florian Plettenberg, Sky Sports Germany reporter, to confirm that a swap deal was on the table. And it's on the table. It's not being discussed, but it hasn't been denied either. That's if would you take a swap deal for Serge Gnabry? He's younger. He's can play again all three positions up front. We could do a lot worse, couldn't we?
I was in that discussion actually. Yeah, thanks a lot, Charlie. That was obviously very memorable. I remember me and Matty said that a swap deal wouldn't have been that bad. What we didn't want was to spend 60, 80 million on Gnabry. That's what we didn't want. We didn't want him being the marquee signing. I think if Mane is going, if you're only going to get 45 million for him, you'd have to ask yourself who you can get for 45 million. I think Nkunku's release clause is something like 50, isn't it? 50 or 60?
No, I think Leipzig have come out and said there's no release clause, and
There isn't one.
Yeah, and I think they don't want to sell him, but they'd look at 80 million if it was offered.
80. See, so it's one of them. For me, I do like Gnabry, and he is similar to Mane in terms of he's versatile. And he is young. He's a good player. I wouldn't be, the way I'll put it is, if that happens, I wouldn't be gutted because I think Gnabry is a decent replacement. But I prefer us to get someone like Nkunku, because technically, if we sold Mane for 40, 45 mil, you're only spending 40 on Nkunku if he cost 80. I think he's just a better age and profile for what we're going for. I think we'd make him into a superstar. His numbers this season are just pathetic. So that would be my first choice, but I wouldn't be too disappointed if we got Gnabry.
Yeah, I mean, Matty, Tino, I'll bring this to you too. It's Looking at age, Gnabry's 4 years younger than him. They play both across the front three. I think Gnabry is mainly a left winger, but he can play on the right. Both of their contracts are up at the end of the season. Liverpool have never really displayed any interest in Gnabry, but Bayern Munich seems to be pushing very hard. Would you prefer the 45 million or a straight swap deal for Serge Gnabry?
I prefer the 45 million, getting Kunku, like what Jay said. He's younger. I think he can add more to us in the long term than what Gnabry can. And I think he's a little bit more versatile as well. And I think Kunku can do a job as an attacking midfielder in one of the front three, and he can also do a job as a holding midfielder as well. So he's so versatile. If you did have any injuries and stuff like that, he's dead exciting. And if he's only 80 million, then like Jay said, you're only paying 40 mil for him for a player who's potentially going to be one of the best in the world in a few years. And who better to get that potential out of Kunku than Klopp? I just don't think I'd bring Gnabry in. I stand by. I do strongly believe Jota was Mane's replacement anyway.
Replacing someone before or they've left is something Liverpool have tried to do anyways. So Jota being Mane's replacement kind of makes total sense. You look at Thiago coming in, Wijnaldum leaving, different style of players, but still essentially one midfielder out, one midfielder in. I would like Serge Gnabry. I think he's a very, very good player, but it has to be Nkunku. Nkunku seems like longer term priority in terms of what Jurgen Klopp would be looking at. It makes total sense to go for Nkunku, especially if you're doing part of the cash from selling Sadio. But realistically, do I think it'll happen? No, if I'm being perfectly honest. I wouldn't be too surprised to see us just sell Mane and then just sort of not replace him because we brought Luis Diaz in January, who was meant to be coming in this summer.
Yeah, the only thing with Nkunku is that 45 million, you'd then have to put another 40 million on top of it, which I think the club would do. Maybe not, maybe, who knows. I know we've got a good relationship with the Red Bull. Yeah.
He's not going to go a year left, hasn't he? Give them Kaiser for Nkunku and 40 mil.
Yeah, the Mane news is going to stick throughout the whole of summer. I don't think he reveals his future. I think he might say he leaves or he stays, but I think there's going to be a lot of clubs battling it out for him. Okay, before we go on to the next topic, guys, make sure you do leave a like on the video. There's over 100 people in the stream, so get liking the video. Also, if you are new to the channel, please do subscribe. Also, get involved with the conversation, and we will bring up some of your comments. Okay, the next one, and I've asked you all to bring a player. There was one exclusion, and I'll go into it. But Aurelien Tchouameni, it basically looks like we're out of the race. Real Madrid and PSG are now fully in it. We were confirmed to be talking to his representatives. It seems like he has a preference of Real Madrid. However, and he's also agreed a deal with Real Madrid, apparently. However, PSG, most particularly Kylian Mbappe, their new sporting director, owner, manager, captain, wants Aurelien Tchouameni. And they're willing to spend up to 100 million, something that Real Madrid are apparently not willing to do. So that's taken Liverpool out of the race. But Matty, it would have been nice to have Aurelien Tchouameni. I think the Mbappe deal has screwed everything up. I think if Mbappe went to Real Madrid, we sign Aurelien Tchouameni. It's not even a question in my mind. But with him out the race, we've been linked with a fair few other players. Sangri, I don't know how you say his name, the PSV guy. We've also been linked with Yves Bissouma in the past. There's a Jude Bellingham is one. I have excluded him in the question I'm going to answer you because I think everyone would choose Jude Bellingham if we had to. But Matty, looking at other alternatives, who would you choose out of him. There's a big market in the midfield at the moment, especially, young, powerful, midfielders who can play multiple positions. So Tchouameni wasn't the only option, but there's other options out there, isn't there?
Yeah, there is other options out there, but I don't think there's too many stuff done yet, to be honest. I think he's not officially said Real Madrid yet. There's still been journals saying that it could still happen. Liverpool could go to Madrid, so I think it's still a bit up in the air. But if we do lose him, I don't even know. I actually don't have a clue. Like if we don't get him, who could come in? Like obviously, I want Bellingham, but I think that'll be next summer. But then everyone says Dortmund aren't going to sell Haaland and Bellingham in the same year. But when they won the league, they sold Hummels, Lewandowski. I think who else did they sell that year? They sold all the stars.
Goethe.
Yeah. So why won't they sell Bellingham and Haaland in the same summer? I think
That's probably why, though, lad, isn't it?
But that's the whole philosophy of their club, isn't it?
I know.
To just sell it for profits. And I do think if you tempted Dortmund with a decent enough offer, you could get him, to be honest. Even though he's excluded, there's nobody else I want. Like I do think that Bellingham's probably more like Hendo's long-term replacement. I think Hendo's probably got another season in him of consistently playing. So it's who's basically coming in to learn off Thiago really for that left centre mid role, isn't it? So I don't know. I really don't have a clue, but I'm not into that PSV fella. I don't think he's that good.
I mean, one person we haven't really been linked with, but Ayusha said it here. If I can find it, Declan Rice. Tino, is that an option? I haven't been massively impressed with him this season from where I've watched him, but apparently, according to everybody, he's been the best defensive midfielder in the league. But I don't think Declan Rice is a thing. But what are your thoughts on it, Tino? And also, who would you sign if we are out of the Tchouameni race?
I think Declan Rice has done very, very well this season. He's shown for West Ham and for England the different types of defensive midfielder. That role, he can screen, he can be a bit more aggressive in the challenges. The only way for me we go and sign someone like Declan Rice is if Fabinho leaves, which is never going to happen. I don't think he's worth the 80, 100 million, however much West Ham want for him. There's the English tax on top of that you've got to pay. And it's just, I don't see it happening. I really don't see us wasting that much money on someone like him. A player, when I was thinking about who I would choose, a player who's not a defensive midfielder per se, but a midfielder that I would love to see in a Liverpool shirt is Nicola Barella. Inter Milan, he's done phenomenally this year. 12 assists, 3 goals. He's played over 40, I think close to 50 games this season, which is basically in line with what we play. He's a true top quality player. He's 25. His value, according to Transfermarkt, is around 70 million euros. So it kind of fits in with the price that I'd expect us to pay for a midfielder. And he's certainly someone that I would absolutely love to see in a Liverpool shirt.
Yeah, I mean, Jay, I think Barella's a really good shout, but again, he's probably going to cost a lot of money. One person that Signal Esports has put here, which I feel like we forgot, is Gavi. A lot of people have said that we've been in touch with Barcelona. He would be free if we were to sign him. And it doesn't look like at the moment that talks are going great. Both sides are saying that they're not in contact with anyone. They've sent their offers and no one's responding. So there seems to be a bit of hostility there, and Jurgen Klopp's an admirer of him. And what Matty said, I think we're signing Bellingham next season. Even though we might be signing Bellingham next season, I think we signed 2 midfielders in them next 2 seasons. I think even if we were to sign Aurelien Tchouameni, we still were going to sign Bellingham because of Thiago's age. So, we've got a right centre mid and left centre midfield role to fill. Where Harvey Elliott comes along, who knows? But, I think Gavi would be a great option. But if not, who are you going for?
I think Matty was right. There's loads of conflicting reports about Tchouameni. I've heard he's agreed terms with both clubs. I've heard he's obviously closer to Madrid, and then I read that Liverpool are going to go in after him after the final. We want to do the final first and then go to him with the proper offer. So with a bit of luck, that comes in. Because the thought of having him, Fabinho and Bellingham next year, like you're talking dominance, that'd be a ridiculous midfield. There isn't really anyone like Tchouameni at the minute in Europe for his age and stuff. He can do everything. But I like Berea as well, like Tino said. If you couldn't get Tchouameni, I do like Berea. I like Oar at Lyon, but no one seems to ever go in for him, and it makes me wonder why. He's linked with everyone every season, and he never goes.
There must be something wrong with him. There must be something.
That's what I'm thinking. He must have like an attitude problem, because for the last like 2 or 3 years, he's been available for like 25 or 30 million or something, and 1 week he's going Tottenham, then he's going Arsenal, then he's going Chelsea. There must be a reason he's never moved. But as a player, I think he's class. I like Ruben Neves, and there's a lad at Gladbach that I like as well, called Kane, but I doubt many people know much about him. He's a bit like Keita, to be honest, and he's only 20. But I really like the look of him at Gladbach.
Well, why you bring him up? He was my option.
Yeah. Was he? Yeah, that's right, lad.
Yeah. Again, 21 years old. He's 6'3". He can play in defensive mid, central mid. He's played attacking mid for Gladbach. He's an absolute monster, very highly rated in the Bundesliga. And I, honest to God, think you could probably get him for cheaper than 30 million. You know,
that's why I like him. I just think he ticks every box. That kid, he's a bit like Basuma.
Yeah. And another one here is Conrad Lehmer, another really good option. I think we'd have to battle a lot of clubs to sign him, though. There's loads of options. I do think there's players like Tchouameni, maybe not as good, but there's definitely players in his mould. Kone is one. Sangor, I hate names. That PSV guy, definitely, again, is in the mould. But, going on Aouar, he's been linked with Arsenal for the past 4 years. I feel like he's just destined to join Arsenal and then flop. But maybe Odegaard was him. But there's loads of options. I think Bellingham's the ideal one if we don't get Tchouameni, but I just don't think that's happening, if I'm going to be honest. Okay, the moment everybody has been waiting for, Harry Kane. But before we get on to that, if you are new to the video, please do leave a like. I think we might have hit 50 likes already, but if you aren't, if you haven't liked the video, make sure you like it. Also, subscribe to the channel and turn bell notifications on. Adam, really quickly, Fabio Carvalho is going to be an attacker for Liverpool. That has been confirmed by pretty much every source. He's going to be a winger and an attacking midfielder behind the striker. Okay, Harry Kane. Now, I have done some digging when I heard there was rumours about Liverpool being interested in Harry Kane. Matty's gone. I think Matty has to leave. But basically, where the rumours come from is Robert Gutman of the Anfield Rap, who hosts their transfer show, basically said on his video that he has been told by an extremely good source close to Liverpool that Liverpool have expressed an interest in Harry Kane. Now, again, this isn't an unbelievable source that we know of, but it's somebody who doesn't say stuff unless he truly believes it. The Anfield Rap are a very reputable Liverpool company, arguably one of the biggest. They work with the club. They have a lot of connections with the club. Also, Tino, with Haaland joining Manchester City, no one's really interested in him at the moment. Is it the perfect signing to match Manchester City's Erling Haaland, transfer?
Yes and no. If you want to just match them it's a very on-the-fence answer, I realise. If you want to match him in terms of money, in terms of someone who's going to give you guaranteed goals, who is one of the best centre forwards in the world out there who's going to break, who pretty much guaranteed if he stays in the Premier League to break Alan Shearer's goal record. Then you go out and sign him. You put in 100 million on the table, whatever they want, and you go, there's your money. Give me Harry Kane. The reasons why I don't think he'd work at Liverpool is he's 29. He's not getting any younger. You'd get 4, maybe 5 seasons out of him at a push. And admittedly, they'd be guaranteed goals. I think he changes the way we play too much. And I think we'd have to adapt our playing style to fit him into the squad to a certain extent. I'm not convinced.
I mean, saying that, I mean, he's like, I don't agree with that. I think he suits our play style perfectly. He is a Roberto Firmino who scores goals.
He drops off, but I don't think he's got the work rate. He drops off to pick up the ball, to lay it off. I don't think he's got the attacking work rate to really push and press high, like how and not give the centre forwards that much space. I don't think he's got that in his locker, if I'm being perfectly honest. I just don't like him, if I'm being brutally honest.
That is the issue, isn't it?
Such a cocky arsehole.
Yeah, I have found that's the issue. No one is doubting his quality, Jay. I think if he comes into Liverpool, he guarantees us 35, 40 goals a season. Imagine him on the end of Trent crosses. He'd get 20 assists every season in the Premier League. It's just, he's such a dickhead, isn't he? Like, he's just an unlikable guy. And I don't like unlikable players at Liverpool. But if he's guaranteeing us 40 goals a season, I mean, imagine a front three, as Craig said here, of Diaz, Kane and Salah. It's a nice front three, to say the least, isn't it?
Yeah, it'd be sensational. No, I disagree with Tino. I think 2-3 years ago, this sounds mad actually, but the younger Kane I don't think he fits into our system. I think the Kane now does. Like you've just said, where he drops off. He doesn't even play as a 9 anymore, ever. He plays as a 10 nearly, and let Son run in behind him, Lucas. The only thing about it is, it's basically what United done with Van Persie, only it cost you a lot more. But it's exactly the same type of transfer. He will bang 30 goals in for 2, maybe 3 years. But he cost a lot of money for that, and I just don't think that's something Liverpool would do. But I didn't think we'd speak to Mbappe, and it turns out we have. So maybe Liverpool are thinking, City have got Haaland. We've missed out on Mbappe. We need someone at that level to push against City. And the other thing is, when you're saying does it compete with City, yeah, short term. Haaland's going to be there 5, 8, 10 years if he wants to. Harry Kane's a quick fix, 2 to 3 years, which, chances are he will win as another Premier League or Champions League, but I just don't see FSG doing it. But I do think it'd work if they did.
Would you take that short-term success like United did, like you mentioned with Van Persie? Would you take that short-term success if you're willing to forget about the future for now?
Yeah, because I think 80 million or 100 million over 3 seasons, you get that back and what you win. And then his shirt sales, if Kane signs, everyone's going to buy a Harry Kane shirt. I'm not asking what anyone says, they will. And then, like I say, if you win a Premier League, a Champions League, or one of each, then the 100 million pays for itself, or the 80 million, whatever it'd be. What's the pooch think?
No, what do you think, Penny? Shall we sign? Oh, thank you. Look, I think he perfectly. It's a great statement if we were to sign Harry Kane. It says we've needed a goal scorer as well. An out-and-out number 9. I'm wrapped up in headphones. We needed an out-and-out 9 who can score goals. He's not just an out-and-out 9. He can drop in deep and he can play. He's probably one of the best passers in the league, Harry Kane. He's up there, De Bruyne and Trent Alexander-Arnold, and he's a striker. And I don't know about the whole 2 or 3 years. Look at Lewandowski, look at Benzema. These are 34-year-olds. You know, as much as we don't like Cristiano Ronaldo as well, he's what, 38, and you know, he's
top goal scorer.
It's a fair point, lads. Yeah, it is. It's a very fair point.
James Milner is too. You know, players, the technology that we have, the recovery that the world has now. You know, soon enough, it's not. You know, in the next 20 years, I don't think it's going to be a surprise if you know, people peaking at 35, 36, because you know the longevity is there. You know, we could see a world in the next 20 years where players are playing until they're 40 years old, because the technology and players are recovering a lot better. Yes, they're playing more games, but there's also so many new recovery methods being thought of every day. You know, who would you ask players 10 years ago if there would have been a gravity treadmill, and they would have been like, oh, what are you, and a zero gravity treadmill, they'd be like, oh, what are you on about? Like, look at all the work we're doing with Neuro 11 and neuroscientists. It's shaping up to be a future where players are going to be going into the 40s and still being great players, and we're seeing the start of that now with the likes of Benzema and Lewandowski and Cristiano Ronaldo all still at the top of the game despite the age. I would personally sign Kane. I think it would be a great statement, as I said, to Manchester City. I honestly think he'd be better than Haaland too. You know, he's Premier League proven. He knows the game. The only issue with me is his ankle injury. I think if Klopp's system, if he is playing more of a, if you can get him to press, I think if anyone can get him to press, it's Jurgen Klopp. But you know that ankle injury might be an issue. But who knows? I think he'd be a great signing for us if we were. And I also think as well we don't have the best relationships with Tottenham after what we did to them with Luis Diaz. So that might be an issue, but you never know.
Charlie, if you had the option, I'm only asking, there's loads of comments on it there, and it's a good question for me myself because I'm not too sure. If you had the choice of Núñez or Kane, would you go for Kane?
Disrespectful question. Darwin Núñez is a million miles behind Harry Kane. People are being so reactionary because they saw him against us. He had a couple of good games against us. You know, if you put what Harry Kane is doing now compared to, I know he's a lot older, but at Darwin Núñez's age, like Darwin Núñez has space to grow. I don't think Darwin Núñez will ever reach the heights of Harry Kane. Maybe trophy-wise he might, but performance-wise, you know, as much as we hate it, Harry Kane will go down as one of, if not the best ever strikers in Premier League history.
He should get second in the goal scoring chart, really. He's got to be Rooney.
So it's, you know, Darwin Núñez is a great player, and, you know, age-wise, he's very good. He has a lot to work with. If you were offering me 80 million for Darwin Núñez or 100 million for Harry Kane, would not even be a question. I'd sign Harry Kane every single day of the week.
I'm with you on that one. 100% with you on that one. Darwin Núñez is a very, very talented young player, but if you're going out and you're looking for an out-and-out goal scorer who's guaranteed to score you 20, 25 plus goals a season, there's no one better than Harry Kane in the world. Unless we sign Lewandowski, which I don't think is going to happen.
Well, now the viewers know. No, you were all asking about Núñez, so I thought we've got to mention him.
I after we get Núñez comments every single time. We're not in a race for Darwin Núñez, I promise you. When it comes down to what club Darwin Núñez will join, I'll bet £1 million that it will not be Liverpool. He just doesn't fit Liverpool's system, unfortunately.
He did play very well against us.
Oh, he did.
I was at the game at Anfield and I was like, whew.
Yeah,
I was very impressed.
And he reminds me a lot of Luis Suarez, but I just don't think he needs somebody to coach him there like a lot. And I think, you know, if he goes to Man United, I think Erik ten Hag would do wonders with him, because he would build his team around Núñez. That's what he needs at the moment. He needs, you know, everything going to him. At Liverpool, he wouldn't get that. And I think Harry Kane would know that he wouldn't get that, and Harry Kane would adapt. And honest to God, I think if Harry Kane joined, he would get I think it guarantees them the golden boot for the next 3 years minimum, which would take him, I think, to 7 golden boots, if I'm not mistaken. Which
He's got 2 feet.
Yeah, which
Wow.
would be absolutely crazy. So, you know, our thoughts on Harry Kane. I think that's a perfect place to end it. So if you are new to the stream, guys, please do leave a like. It helps us out a bunch, even if the stream is just ending. So make sure you leave a like. Also subscribe to the channel. We have a lot of Champions League content coming up for this week. Right after this video, probably in around half an hour, I need to upload it. Half an hour to an hour. There's going to be an opposition preview with a Real Madrid journalist. So make sure you check that out. Really interesting going into the tactics of what to expect from Real Madrid. We will also have a couple more player versus players. Make sure you go and check out the Alisson versus Courtois one. Going to have live streams again tomorrow on Saturday before the game, and Louis will be doing the watch along. So yeah, Sebastian or Tino, Jay, thank you for joining. Make sure you go and check out their Twitters. Also, Matty was here, but he's flying to Paris tomorrow morning, so he's got to go and find his passport. But go on his Twitter and wish him good luck for the game. But yeah, thank you everybody so much for joining.